Hello, and welcome to the Kindred Coven. I'm Callista.
And I'm Jacob.
We are big fans of both lost media and vampires.
So naturally, we are interested in lost media relating to vampires.
Which brings us to today's video. We spent some time finding some of the most interesting lost vampire media.
And I'm sure we might have missed some, so let us know of any that we didn't cover.
We hope you enjoy. Batman Dracula is a black and white silent film directed by artist Andy Warhol. The film was created without authorization from DC Comics and was meant to be an homage to the Batman series. The film was only able to be viewed at Warhol's art exhibits and was considered lost after Andy Warhol passed away. Thankfully, some pieces of it have been found. Some scenes were featured in the 2006 documentary Jack Smith and the Destruction of Atlantis. And even more have been found throughout the years. We now have roughly 40% of the original film. Hopefully, more scenes will emerge and we will one day be able to view the entire film.
Kindred the Embraced is an 8-episode series that aired on Fox beginning in April 1996. The series is based on the Vampire the Masquerade series of tabletop role-playing games, but features several changes from the source material, such as allowing vampires to roam in the sunlight if they've recently fed. The show follows two protagonists, Julian Luna, the then true Prince of the City, and Frank Kohalek, the human police detective. After Fox put the plug on the series in May of 1996, there were talks to bring the show back later that year by other networks. Unfortunately, those plans came to an end when star Mark Frankel tragically passed away in a motorcycle accident in September of that year. Mark, who played Julian Luna, was considered the best part of the show by many, and it would have been impossible to continue without his presence. Thus, Kindred the Embraced was cancelled for good. The 8th episode of the show never got to air on Fox during the show's initial run on television. It was eventually included on subsequent physical releases, making this not really a case of lost media. However, there were planned scripts for at least 2 more episodes. These scripts have never been released and remain lost to the public to this day. The 2013 DVD release contains several extras that add to the mythology of the series. This includes a short video segment featuring the character Daedalus, the Nosferatu primogen, portrayed by Jeff Kober. It also includes several deleted scenes and audio commentaries for the episodes that were made. It's unlikely anything will ever come out of the unmade scripts, but maybe one day the dedicated fanbase of the series and the tabletop game can come together to make something out of it. I would love to see a true Vampire the Masquerade adaptation come to the screen at some point.
The Dracula film that was supposedly released in 1920 may not have ever been a real movie. Its existence is currently unconfirmed. The only mention we have of this film was in the book The Vampire Book, the Encyclopedia of the Undead by J. Gordon Melton. This would have been the first time Dracula was adapted into film, if this film did exist. There are 2 common theories regarding this film's existence, the first being that it was destroyed during the Russian Civil War. But the more likely one is that people simply had this one confused for our next entry, Dracula's death.
Dracula's Death is a lost silent film from Austria. The film is rumored to have premiered in 1921, but evidence points to it actually premiering to the public in 1923. Dracula was portrayed by Paul Escones, who is the first actor to portray the Count on screen. The film was never shown again after its premiere. All that remains of the film are 3 photographs, none of which are in particularly decent quality. There's very little known about the movie itself, though there is a novelization of the script available. From what the novelization details, the plot of the movie would not have followed the story of the original Dracula novel. It is unlikely that Dracula's death will ever resurface. Regardless, it has earned its place in vampire history, and we can only hope we get a chance to watch it at some point.
London After Midnight was a 1927 silent horror film starring Lon Chaney and directed by Todd Browning. Browning based the film on his own short story, The Hypnotist. The plot follows an inspector with Scotland Yard investigating the strange happenings at the mansion of a dead man. The film was lost in the 1965 MGM Vault fire, along with other films including The Divine Woman from 1928 and A Blind Bargain from 1922, which also starred Lon Chaney. It's unlikely we will ever get to see London After Midnight as it was intended. However, there are a few ways to still experience the story. Back in 2003, a reconstruction of the film was released by Turner Classic Films. This reconstruction was made using surviving still photographs of the film. It was part of the Lon Chaney Collection DVD set, but is now available to watch here on YouTube. The film was also remade by Todd Browning and released in 1935. The remake is called Mark of the Vampire, and the plot is nearly identical to the original film. There's only two main differences between the two. The first being that Mark of the Vampire is no longer a silent film, and the second being that Lon Chaney's character was split into two different characters. Professor Zelen, played by Lionel Barrymore, and Count Mora, played by Bela Lugosi. London After Midnight is likely the most well-known piece of lost vampire media, and just one of the most well-known lost films in general. It's a shame that we'll never be able to watch the original, but its legacy is still incredibly fascinating to both myself and many others.
The Vampire is a lost silent film from 1910. It starred Margarita Fisher as the titular vampire. There is very little known about the film. It would have told the story depicted in the famous Philip Burne-Jones painting, also titled The Vampire. A small segment of the film has been found, as shown on screen now. The segment seems to be part of the scene depicted in the painting. It is unlikely the vampire will ever be seen again. With a movie this old, all prints of it have likely been lost to time. We can only remain hopeful that it will one day resurface.
The Vampira Show was an American television show hosted by Vampira, portrayed by actress Mila Nurmi. The show ran from April 30th, 1954 to April 2nd, 1955. The show would feature a horror movie that Vampira would introduce, and she would have occasional quote-unquote commercials during the movie where Vampira would do different horror-related bits, like a do-it-yourself guillotine. The show became a cult classic and known throughout the world, though it was only aired live in Los Angeles on KABC TV. None of the episodes were ever recorded on any kinescopes, which led to the show becoming lost media. There are a few image stills from the show that still exist, and in the 90s, the intro that would play at the beginning of the episodes was found on a kinescope. A few segments where Vampira appeared on other shows still exist as well, including the Red Skeleton Hour and Plan 9 from Outer Space. Vampira was also featured in Tim Burton's Ed Wood, though she wasn't played by Mila Nurmi. Instead, she was played by Lisa Marie. Though the Vampira Show may be lost, thankfully all of the films featured on her show are still available to be watched. Some of the most notable being Vampire, Detour, and White Zombie.
The Vampire is another lost silent film, this time from the year 1913. This film tells the story of the poem by the same name by author Rudyard Kipling. This film would have starred Alice Hollister as the titular vampire. The film features a segment titled The Vampire Dance, in which the main character watches a performance on a stage where a woman dominates a man, eventually taking his life by biting him. This scene is based on the painting that the 1910 lost film of the same name was based on. While the film is lost to the public, there is a known print in the George Eastman Museum in New York. Maybe one day they will release it online so fans of vampire media can experience a part of history.
Thank you all so much for watching. We hope you all enjoyed. I've been Callista.
And I'm Jacob.
We hope to see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.